Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Cassandra and today we're doing a Vinyasa flow practice working on our binds. So binds are definitely shoulder intensive, and I often hear students tell me that binds feel very restrictive and constricting. And that's one perspective to take with binds, but in another way, when we compress one area of our bodies, we're usually able to expand in other areas. So while binds can definitely be very constricting, they also have the paradox of being very freeing in different areas. So it's really just a change of your perception, and we're going to play with different variations of binds, so different ways to use our arms and place our shoulders, which should hopefully give you a little bit more freedom and range of motion within those poses. So even if binds is something that you struggle with at home, I'm hoping that this will be a good flow for you to practice. My shoulders are pretty open, so I'm not going to need or use a strap. However, I would recommend, if you know that they're pretty tight and binds are definitely a challenge for you, absolutely have a strap or a belt somewhere close by. And then definitely have two blocks. We're going to use this towards the end of the class. The blocks is just for supported fish. So honestly, if you don't have blocks at home, it's not that big a deal. You can even use just like one big couch cushion or a couple pillows. That will work as well. So before we start and make our way into those binds, we want to open up our shoulders a little bit and get them ready for that. So we're going to start with a laying chest opener. And I'm going to start with the left side first, just because it'll be easier for you guys to see this at home. If I lay down on my belly, you're going to want to extend your left arm out to the side and bend the elbow so you have your elbow in line with your shoulder, bent at about a 90-degree angle. Palm is flat to the floor. And you're just going to roll onto your left ear, left shoulder, and left hip. And I like to bend the knees, but it doesn't really matter. Your legs can be straight if that works best for you. Your right hand can press into the floor, and you should immediately start to feel a pretty good stretch into that left shoulder, into the pectorals, and maybe even down the bicep. Try to relax your neck as much as you can. And draw your shoulder blades down your back. So the key with binds and with anything that really has to do with our shoulders is to really pay attention to how it feels. So there should never be any kind of pain. We don't want to be pushing ourselves too much in these poses and forcing your way into a shape. Otherwise, you can absolutely injure yourself. And straighten your legs, roll onto your belly. We'll go do the same thing over on the other side. So this time your right elbow bends in line with your shoulder at about a 90-degree angle. Palm is flat to the floor. And just roll onto your right hip. Push into your left hand. Take one more deep belly breath on the side, really opening into the chest, creating space. And roll back onto your belly. We'll come into our puppy pose stretch. So pressing up onto hands and knees. Keep your hips directly over the top of your knees and just let your arms and palms walk forward so your forehead comes down to the ground. Keeping the arms nice and straight, and draw your low belly into your low back. Hug the forearms in towards one another. Try to create even more space in your upper back with your breath. And walk your palms in, tabletop pose. So one last little pose here before we move into our flows. We'll take thread the needle. As you inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. And then exhale, thread your right arm underneath you, lower your shoulder and your ear to the ground. I like to come up onto the left fingertips and use that to push into the floor. The further you reach your right arm, the deeper this will be. So again, this is one of those poses that can feel really restricting, but although we are compressing one area of your body, we're opening up another one. So the upper back may be twisting, but can you breathe and create more space and make use of the space in the low belly and low back? And let's come up, push into the left hand, tabletop pose. Second side, left arm up, and then thread it under. Left ear and left shoulder down. You can come up onto your right fingertips and push into that palm. Notice if your hips have swayed one side or the other. We want to try to keep them over our knees as much as we can. Push into your right palm, come all the way back up, and we're ready to start to flow. Make your way into your downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart. You can paddle your feet, sway your hips side to side, whatever feels good. We're not here too long, just stretch out long through your arms. Find the integrity in the shoulders. And we'll step to our ragdoll fold at the top of the mat. So walk your feet forward, a little bit wider than your hips. Unlock your knees, so do make sure they have a generous bend. And we're going to clasp our hands behind the lower back. Bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you, and then lift the knuckles up and over. So this is a different variation than what you're probably used to doing, which is to lock the elbows and lift up. For this one, I do want you to keep the elbows very much bent. It's just a different sensation, different kind of stretch. Relax your head, shake it out. No tension in the neck. Release your hands down to the mat. Roll all the way up, pushing into the heels. Head and shoulders are the last to make their way there. And we'll step to the top of the mat. Mountain pose, taking our first little flow. Feet hip width distance apart. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold all the way down. Relax your neck. Halfway lift, flat back. Plant your palms, plank pose down to your belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From our down dog, let's reach the right leg up to the sky. Bend your right knee, open up your hip nice and wide. And let's come to our easy twist. So you're going to step your right foot forward in between your palms. Keep your left hand down to the mat and just extend your right arm up to the sky. So taking a little half bind here, press your left shoulder down and just bend your right elbow and bring your hand to your low back. So by bringing your right hand to your low back, you want to feel that shoulder draw back so you can start to face up and look up towards the ceiling. One more deep breath here. And looking down, bring your right hand down to the floor, to the inside of your right foot. Spin your back heel parallel to the shorter edge of your mat and extend your left arm up. So just reversing the direction of that easy twist. And same thing, we'll take a half bind, bend into your left elbow, and bring your hand to your low back. And draw that shoulder back. So coming from here into our reverse warrior, keep your left hand behind your lower back, push down into the legs. Right arm goes all the way up and back, and you might be able to wiggle your left fingertips further. Maybe reaching for the inner thigh crease. Let's straighten the front leg into your triangle pose, maintaining that half bind. Right hand down. So the left fingertips can crawl forward to the thigh to help you rotate your chest up to the sky. So notice the freedom this actually gives you in the lungs and in the chest, even though we are in a bind. Crown of the head extends forward. Look down to the floor to help with balance. Release the bind. Hands down, downward facing dog. And we'll go and do that sequence over on the other side. Left leg rises, inhale. Bend your knee, open up your hip. And come to your easy twist. Left foot between the palms. Keep your right hand as it is. Left arm reaches up. So sometimes the foot will rotate open towards the little toe. Try to push down on your big left toe. Bend that left elbow and bring it behind your lower back. Open the chest even more without rotating the right shoulder forward. Keep drawing it back and down. And we'll reverse. Left hand to the inside of your left foot. Back foot parallel to the shorter edge of your mat. Right arm goes straight up to the sky. And then your half bind. Bend your right elbow. Bring it to your low back. Dropping the hips. Pushing that left knee open a little more. From here into our reverse warrior. Keeping the right hand behind us. Left arm goes all the way up and back. And you can use that motion to sneak your right fingertips further towards your left thigh. Straighten your left leg, triangle pose, left hand down. Maintaining this half bind the entire time. Breathe fully and deeply. Looking down to the floor, carefully release, step back, downward facing dog. And let's take a little vinyasa, always optional for you at home. Inhaling to plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale upward dog, exhale downward facing dog. Let's extend our right leg up, keep it straight and squared, and we're coming to our warrior one. So right foot forward between your hands, back heel grounds down at about a 45-degree angle or so, and then you can lift up with the chest and upper body. So warrior one, your hips are probably going to want to start opening to the side. Try to squeeze your left hip forward and pull your right hip back. Open up your arms, cactus shape, so bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle and squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. So open through the chest, even as you bend into that front knee. Sink a little bit deeper. Hands to your hips, straighten your front leg, bring your back foot in a couple inches just to narrow your stance, and take reverse prayer with the palms. So hands together, fingertips can either point up or you can just bring them to point down if this is a little much. If you really need to modify, hold on to your strap or you can just hold on to your forearms. Otherwise, fingertips point straight up, pull the elbows back, lift, and then initiate the fold from here. So a little bend in the knee is perfectly fine. Try to keep the shoulders lifted away from the floor. Pull the navel in. Push down into your feet. Come all the way back up. And now straighten your arms. Clasp your hands behind you. Straight elbows this time, so probably the way that you're used to doing this. And we're coming to warrior three. Lean onto your right leg. Left leg extends all the way up and back. Reaching your knuckles towards your back heel. Rotate that left inner thigh down. Try to lift your thumbs off of your tailbone. Pull the heart forward. Staying in warrior three, just release your hands to your heart. Come all the way up to stand, standing pigeon pose. Cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh. Bend your supporting leg so hips move back, chest leans forward. Just taking a little stretch in the hip and the glutes. Push into the right leg, mountain pose. Let's take our flow. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold it down. Halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, downward facing dog. Second side, fingertips spread wide in your down dog. Left leg rises up. Warrior one, step your left foot in between your palms, back heel grounds down. Keep your hips facing straight forward in line, just like your shoulders. So rotated back, arms up, and then cactus the arms. So you want to keep the floating ribs down and just really engage the back muscles. Just squeeze the elbows back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Sink the hips down a little lower. Keep the chest nice and open. And we'll straighten the left leg, hands on your hips, bring your back foot in a little bit. Reverse prayer for the pyramid pose fold. Remember, you can always use your strap or do something else with your hands. Pull the heart forward, exhale into your fold. Try to relax your neck for this one. Push down into the feet, lift, leading with the heart. Straighten your arms, interlace them more unusual way, so the other thumb on top, straighten out the arms. Warrior three, bending into your front knee. Balance on the left leg, right leg lifts up. Rotate that right thigh down. Pull your heart forward. So it's almost like a little back bend in this pose, squeezing your shoulder blades together. And stay in this warrior three. Just bring your hands to your heart. Standing pigeon, come on up. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Bend that supporting leg, hips back, chest forward. And press up, mountain pose. Let's take our vinyasa. Folding forward. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, take your flow. We meet in downward facing dog. So making our way to our full bind. From your down dog, reach your right leg up. And you're going to step forward to warrior two. So right foot in between the palms, back heel parallel, lifting up with the arms. Now from here, we're ready for our full bind, trying it out in this pose. You're gonna bring your right hand or right forearm to your right thigh, left hand behind your lower back. So this is option one. If this is already enough, you're just gonna hang out as you are. If you'd like to go further for your full bind, right arm goes underneath your thigh to hold on to your palms or hold on to the wrist. So this is your extended side angle. Think of dragging that left shoulder back. And now looking down to the floor in front of you, you're just going to step your left foot to the top of the mat, staying with your bind behind your back. Feet a little bit more than hip width distance apart. Before we do anything, see if you can start to straighten your legs and draw the left shoulder back as you look up. Now, those of you that want to play around with your bird of paradise pose can progress further. Look down to the floor with balance, or to help with balance. Lean onto your left leg and see if you can come up to stand, bringing your right leg with you. And now there's already plenty going on, but if you did want to go a little further into it, you can try to straighten your right leg. So stay up nice and tall, reach through the toes, and with control, we're going to come right back out, bend the right knee, come all the way back down, and just let yourself take a ragdoll fold, hold onto the elbows, sway a little side to side. So our peak pose here. Let's just take yogi squat, malasana, bend the knees, drop the hips, hands at the heart. So you can either use your elbows to push the knees open wider, or what I like to do right now is just let the elbows rest on the knees. and lift up. As long as you can have a straight, long spine, either variation works. And release, downward facing dog. So you can take a flow if you'd like. I'm going to skip it out for this side and only do it after we've done both sides. From your downward facing dog, let's reach our left leg up, and we're going to come into warrior two. Left foot forward, back heel parallel to the shorter edge of your mat. Arms extend out, palms are facing down. So extended side angle is first. You're going to want to just bring your left forearm onto your left thigh. Rotate your right shoulder back, and you can bring your right hand to your low back. So already this might be enough. Stay here if you'd like. Or take your full bind. Left arm goes underneath the thigh, clasping your hands. Now we don't want to face down to the floor. We want to try to rotate that right shoulder back so that we're facing up to the side and looking up a little bit more towards the ceiling. So remember, this is an excellent pose to use your strap in. Keep the generous bend in your front left knee. And now looking down to the floor, we're just going to step into that forward fold with a bind. So your right foot moves to the top of the mat, widen your feet a little bit and see if you can straighten the legs, maintaining the bind, rolling the right shoulder back and looking up. Slow, steady breaths. So where in your body can you create a little bit more space, even though you're kind of all jumbled up? Looking down to the floor, we'll come into our bird of paradise prep. Lean onto your right leg and see if you can come up with the left leg. So if you'd like, you can extend that left leg straight. I have a little hamstring pull, so I'm just going to keep the knee bent. Working at opening through the shoulders, keeping that knee up nice and high. And if you had your left leg straight, you can start to bend it again. We'll ease our way out of this pose, very carefully setting the left foot down. And ragdoll fold, unwind. You can hold on to the elbows or just let your arms dangle, whatever feels good here. Malasana yogi squat. Just taking a moment to reset. Downward facing dog, option to take a vinyasa. So if you're taking your flow, you're going to inhale to plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale upward facing dog, exhale downward facing dog, and let's set our knees to the ground, swing your legs out in front of you. So starting to unwind, we'll come into a seated twist with the option to take a bind as well in this one. So I find actually that the seated binding pose is probably the hardest one, even harder than Bird of Paradise. So just be careful and pay attention. If it's too much for your shoulders, don't worry about it. Bend into your right knee. You're going to cross right foot over the top of your left thigh. And then if you can, bend your left knee and just bring that heel in towards you. So normally seated twist, you would just hook your left elbow to the thigh, right fingertips behind you, and twist this way. This is option one. Stay that way if you'd like. If you'd like to take a bind here, you actually have to thread your left hand over and under your left thigh, and then see if you can wrap your right hand to your low back, and then interlace and clasp the palms. So it is a pretty intense twist and bind. If it hurts your shoulder, definitely leave it out. Think of lengthening up, pushing down into your big right toe. And release to unwind. Take your knee pile pose or shoelace pose or cow face pose. It has a lot of names. Stack your right knee over your left one. Heels are close in towards you. And we're just going to fold all the way down. So because I'm pretty close to the ground, I'm just going to use my block and prop it underneath my forehead so that I don't really have to work while I'm in this pose. Take 5 deep breaths. And slowly come on up. And we'll take that seated twist over on the other side. Extend your legs out straight. Sitting up tall, bend your left knee. Cross that left foot over. And then bend your right knee so you can bring your right heel in close to the glute. Start in your regular twist. So option 1, right elbow hooks to the inner left thigh. Use your left hand to rotate a little further back. If you want to try your bind in this one, you need to reach your right hand over and then under, in between the hole of the thighs. Left hand goes to your low back. See if you can hold on to something. And then use that to push a little bit into your thigh in order to lengthen your spine and rotate back. So even though belly and chest are kind of compressed, we want to be able to breathe slow and steady. So it's not short, shallow. And we'll unwind. Knee pile pose. Stack your left knee over your right, so just over cross. And we're going to fold down. Again, you might want to have your block here if you're kind of close to the floor like I am, just so you can rest your forehead. And press to come back up. You can unwind your legs, keep your blocks out in front of you. We're going to make our way into supported fish pose. So for supported fish, I'm going to have my blocks on their second height, second level. And you want these blocks to end up being underneath your upper back and also underneath the back of your head. So just a really great way to release the shoulders after all of those binds and all of those hand clasping moves. Align the first block underneath the upper back and just make sure the other one is supporting your head so you're not straining your neck. And the legs can either stay out in front of you like this, or you're welcome to take a hip opener, bringing the soles of the feet together to touch. Arms can rest by your sides, or if you'd like, you can even make this a lot more intense by reaching your arms up overhead. That's a little too much for me, but it is an option. So taking a good minute or two here in this pose, just let yourself melt down on the blocks and relax onto them. Slowing down our practice. Feel the tension melt away from the shoulders and the upper back. If you had your legs in their butterfly shape, you can lift them back, lift the knees back up. We're just going to make our way off of our blocks so that we're laying down flat on our back. You can curl your chin to your chest to move the first block off to the side, and then roll off of the other one. And as you lower back down, just bring your knees into your belly, give it a big squeeze. You can rock a little side to side. What might feel good is to just place your hands on the tops of your knees and just like a little pumping motion. As you inhale, straighten the arms, move the knees away, and then exhale, bend the elbows and bring it back in. So really great for the low back. Now, whenever you're ready, we'll make our way into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Take up some space. Turn the palms to face up and let yourself unwind here. Fully relaxing the arms and the shoulders. And letting yourself be heavy on the floor. Relax your body fully. Just give yourself these last few moments of silence and stillness. And deepen your breath. Move in any way that feels good and intuitive. Starting to wake yourself back up. And take a great big stretch. Reach your arms up overhead as if you were just waking up in the morning. And we'll roll to one side. And come up to take a seat. Closing your eyes once you're there. Sitting up nice and tall. And let's bring our hands together at the front of the heart. Taking a cleansing breath in through the nose and out the mouth. Breathe in. Bowing forward. Namaste. Thank you so much, yogis, for doing this Vinyasa flow practice with me, full of binds. I would love to know how this one went for you. I know it is a pretty challenging practice. Hopefully it went well for you. I would love to hear from you. Leave me a comment down below. And if you don't already subscribe to my channel, please do so. It's a great way to support free yoga on the internet. Thank you so much. Have a great day.